I woke to the hiss of air brakes and a metallic clunk, the kind a bus makes when it kneels to the curb. Gray dawn leaked through the curtains. I expected the German Autobahn outside flat fields, distant windmills, but instead I saw a tangle of pastel facades climbing a hillside, and beyond them, a glinting sheet of water. Somewhere a church bell chimed a lazy Mediterranean 8 o'clock. The sign outside the cafe across the street read, Barjolia, Italy, again. Yesterday we'd sworn we were in Germany. The others stirred like an orchestra coming in on the wrong downbeat. Kira, my stand partner, emerged from her bunk, rubbing sleep from one eye, while the other scanned our surroundings. Not again, she muttered. Brass players in the back groped for phones, groggy murmurs passing through the aisle. Where are we? What time is rehearsal? Does anybody remember driving here? No one ever did. That was the pattern. Our tour passports lay in the overhead compartments, zippered into a pouch labeled documents, supposedly under the sole care of Mr. Reinhardt, our conductor. But every morning Mr. Reinhardt presented them to us for hotel check-in, and every morning something inside had changed. The entry stamp bore yesterday's date and the correct country seal, even though none of us remembered border control. Worse, the previous day's stamp had vanished entirely, as if someone had peeled it off and smoothed new paper where it once lay. The ink never smudged. The pages looked factory fresh. Young artists. Mr. Reinhardt's baritone rolled down the aisle before his bespectacled face appeared. He beamed as if nothing were odd about leaping from Germany to Italy overnight. Salerno today. Rehearsal at 11, concert at the Teatro Verdi tonight. Breakfast is on the quay. Leave your instruments here. Our hosts will send a van. He clapped twice, a conductor cue. I raised my hand. Sir, how did we? Overnight drive, he clipped, eyes darting to the driver. Magic of modern highways. Then he chuckled, as though the matter were closed. I saw a flash of unease behind his glasses before he redirected it into bravado. Chop, chop. We filed into the morning. Salty breeze curled around my violin case. I searched for the Autobahn memory rest stops, neon signage, any dull hour spent gazing at darkness. But the night was blank past our encore in Munich's Gasteg. Dead Frarach, thunderous applause, curtain call, bus. Then nothing until this quayside. At the cafe, the barista lined up dozens of cappuccini, dusted with cocoa in the shape of eighth notes. We envied the normal tourist who talked about trains and sore feet. Kira leaned over her cup. I stayed awake last night, she whispered. Or tried. Every time my eyes closed, I fought it, and then it's like a film cut. Next frame, morning. You think they'd drug us? I half joked, then noticed she held a napkin. Black pin covered it in neat rows. B, MYS, F major, D intervals. What's that? I sight read Reinhardt's whistle, she said. He hums when he thinks no one listens. It's always those same pitches, same rhythm. This morning it was different, like he changed the cadence once we crossed a line. She pointed the pen at the harbor water. I think the melody triggers whatever's happening. We gulped foam. I scanned the other tables. Reinhardt chatted with the driver, a silent man named Olin, who wore mirrored sunglasses even indoors. The passport's pouch lay between them. Our performance that night went flawlessly, maybe too flawlessly. Tired as we should have been, everyone played with feverish precision. Notes clicked like gears, the audience erupted. Yet after the encore, I sensed collective dread. Applause meant another ride, which meant another missing night. We loaded cases onto the bus around 11. The moon glittered on waves. Gulls complained from fishing boats. Reinhardt checked his watch. Long haul, he said, voice too bright. Sleep deeply. The driver closed the luggage hold with a clang. I slipped into my bunk fully dressed, earbuds coiled in hand. I set my phone to record, screen dark, microphone hot. If I blacked out, maybe it would catch something. A conversation, a song. Kira occupied the bunk above. She drummed quietly on the panel with her knuckles, Morse for I'm awake. The bus rumbled onto coastal roads. White streetlights flickered through slats. I watched until they blended into strobe, until my eyelids sagged like stage curtains. Then, a sharp two-note whistle, B, block, neck, up to F, floated from the front. Kira froze her tapping. Next came D, then a hush, the same hush that had swallowed every border, every memory. I snapped awake to sunlight and the scent of cardamom. Outside the window, minarets pierced a cloudless sky. Tiles the color of lapis lazuli shimmered above sandstone alleys. A market bustled with donkeys and scooters. This wasn't Europe anymore. Miraba, a vendor called cheerfully as our doors swung open. Turkey, I guessed, though I'd never been. The passports confirmed it. Shiny entry stamps for CCS May, today's date. No trace of Italy, Germany, or any earlier country. My phone showed a single hour of static after I fell asleep. Then nothing. Battery drained, panic spread. Bassist Jorge demanded to know how we crossed the Adriatic in one night without a ferry wake-up. Reinhardt produced a printed itinerary showing an overnight cruise, cabin numbers 1428. Yet none of us remembered cabins, sea swells, funnel smoke. "You kids burned the candle at both ends," he chided. "Of course you slept. We rehearsed in an ancient caravanserai with acoustics like a clay pot. The locals greeted us as honored guests of some cultural exchange program they called Key of Origins. Posters showed our smiling faces arranged around a golden tuning fork. No one had posed for that photograph. It must have been composited from headshots. At lunch, I cornered Anna, our principal oboist and the orchestra's closet cryptography nerd. She examined her passport under the skylight, pulling a jeweler's loop from her bag. "Same paper, same microprint," she murmured. "But look, the serial number on page 2, incremented by 1 since yesterday. It's growing." "Growing toward what?" I asked. "Toward an upper limit, maybe. Like counting down in binary, but forward. Something's rewriting the document, not replacing it." That night, after the concert in Izmir, we convened in the bus galley while Reinhard conferred with local officials outside. Anna spread passports on the table like tarot cards, each open to the photo page. "See the watermark?" she said. A treble clef glowed under UV. It wasn't there at the start of tour. Now, every day it's darker. And look, tiny staff lines branching into the margins, almost like veins. "Do those lines match the notes Kira wrote?" I asked. Kira laid her napkin alongside. The pattern resembled the watermark but rotated, extended. As you followed staff to staff, it spelled a melody. Just then, Olin boarded, mirrored lenses taking in our forbidden circle. He pointed thumb toward the bunks. "Time to roll." His voice was flat, accentless. We dispersed, hearts hammering. This time I swallowed 3 espressos, jabbed my thigh with a pushpin to stay awake. Midnight dunes blurred by, then rocky terraces. Reinhard paced the aisle, humming softly, matched each interval against Kira's transcription. After a descending minor third, his head turned sharply. He locked eyes with me. "Sleep, Nathan," he said, almost tender. The whistle sounded, B minus F D. I tried to resist the wave of heaviness, but my body betrayed me. Limbs tingled, then slackened. Darkness rose. Morning. Crisp mountain air, smell of pine and diesel. Snow-dusted peaks surrounded a valley of glassy chalets. Signs in Cyrillic. Dobro dođul. Serbia? Bulgaria? I staggered outside. The passports now bore an emblem that wasn't any national crest, an abstract lyre enclosed in Mobius bands. We refused to board the hotel shuttle. 50 teenagers staged an impromptu sit-in beside the bus, instruments as protest banners. Journalists might have loved the image, but none were around. Reinhardt tried coaxing. When that failed, he knelt, his face weary. "I wanted to spare you." His words drifted under the alpine sun. "You are the chosen ensemble for a passage humanity can't yet face. Borders are wounds on the earth. You, music's most innocent carriers, are being escorted beyond them." "Escorted by who?" Kira demanded. He sighed. "By those who count nations obsolete. They erase your transit so the world doesn't panic. When the journey ends, you'll premiere a piece written into your bone." He pointed to our passports. "That score is etching itself in you, too. Notice how rehearsals feel easier, how perfect your performances sound? The music is installing." I touched my chest. My heartbeat echoed the BMFD motif. Reinhard removed his spectacles. His pupils shimmered silver. "I made a covenant to shepherd you. But the next crossing is harder. If you stay, you'll forget home forever. If you leave, the melody unravels and the wounds stay open. We stared at the mountains, at each other. Home flashed in my mind. Mom's spaghetti on Wednesdays, Dad whistling out of tune during chores. I couldn't lose that. Yet the thought of keeping the world sliced into parcels felt wrong too. Music was our language. Maybe we could carry its unifying version and still remember. Anna stepped forward. What if we conduct the crossing awake? She asked. Witness it, keep memory, keep melody. Melody. Reinhardt's gaze flicked to the bus. Olin leaned in the doorway, statue still. Awake minds cannot survive the translation, the conductor said. Anna raised her passport. But it's rewriting us anyway, line by line. Maybe we're almost ready. Silence. Snow glinted on fir branches. Finally, Reinhardt nodded once, a grudging maestro yielding to soloist. Tonight, he declared, we try. He handed out small brass earplugs etched with swirling lines. These will dampen the frequency that stuns you. Fit them before midnight. We drove after dusk, the valley receding into pitch. I slipped the plugs in, sound muffled but not gone. Vibrations hummed in marrow. From the front came the familiar whistle, distant now. My eyelids fluttered but stayed open. I gripped the seat. The road dissolved, not metaphorically. Asphalt unraveled like ribbon, revealing raw starlight beneath. The bus hovered, unmoored, wheels spinning in nothingness. Inside, gravity held but everything else. Time, color, smell, peeled away. Instruments in the luggage hold thrummed, strings singing without bows. Lightning webs stitched space ahead. Each bolt contained glimpses, deserts, oceans, cities, all stacked like transparent slides. We passed through them, and with each passage I heard a chord, first B minor major, then an impossible sonority of frequencies between piano keys, notes without names. The passports in our pockets grew warm. Olin's sunglass lenses flipped upward. Beneath them were blank surfaces, polished like jet. He gripped the wheel, though no road remained. Reinhardt stood at the aisle's midpoint, arms raised as if conducting the storm. The bus was his orchestra, we were the resonance box. Terror melted into awe. I sensed everyone breathing in unison, diaphragms pulsing like one colossal lung. The music inside us spiraled higher, searching for cadence. Then everything stopped. Golden light stroked the windows. We floated above a landscape that defied maps, emerald rivers forming treble clefts, mountains terraced like amphitheaters, cities without walls merging into forests. A single colossal auditorium lay at the center, its roof shaped like a conch. This, Reinhardt whispered, is Meridian. No borders, no states, only convergences. Few humans have stood here. The bus touched down on a road of polished stone. Shapes resembling people approached, luminous outlines shifting through the color spectrum. They carried instruments too, flutes made of wind, drums of rippling water. A figure stepped forward, cloak woven from constellations. Its voice arrived as harmony. Welcome, young virtuosi. The melody is almost complete. We disembarked. The air tingled like the moment before applause. The luminous ensemble encircled us. I raised my violin. The bow, though unused for hours, felt newly rosined. Around me other players tuned without instruction. Pitch aligned itself, no A440 reference needed. The cloaked figure produced a baton resembling Reinhardt's, but forged of white fire. It passed it to him. Together, they cued and downbeat. What poured out was not any music we'd rehearsed, yet our fingers knew it. The passports in our pockets pulsed in sync with each phrase. I understood why pages had grown staff lines. They'd been seeding this symphony into us. A genetic score. The brass soared over string tremolos. Woodwinds traced filigree above horns. Percussion thundered like tectonic plates shifting. The landscape answered. Rivers harmonized. Mountains supplied bass overtones. Midway through, I felt memories of home waver. Not vanish, but blend into wider palimpsest. My mother's spaghetti became 1,000 mothers' recipes. My father's whistle a planet's wind through wheat. Tears blurred the notes. At the final chord, silence bloomed so vast it eclipsed thought. Then the cloaked figure bowed. "The wound is smaller," it sang. "Your world will not notice the stitches yet, but they hold." We collapsed on the grass, drained. Reinhardt knelt among us, pride and sorrow fighting on his face. "You stayed awake," he said. "Remember then, if you can." He beckoned Olin, who produced a case of glass vials. Within each, swirling mists sparkled. "Memories freeze in here," Reinhardt explained. "Foam inhalation later will thaw them. Choice is yours. Keep Meridian vivid and bear its weight, or store it safe until humanity wants to know." Kira reached first, sealing her vial. "I'll remember now," she declared. Anna chose to store hers, citing the power of delayed revelation. One by one we decided. I hesitated, feeling both roads tug. Finally I pocketed my vial, unopened, a promise to my future self. Dawn, or whatever Meridian called that gold hour, lit our faces. The luminous beings guided us back onto the bus. Earplugs removed, we heard only birdsong, ordinary and miraculous. The road reformed, pointing toward a shimmer that looked exactly like the horizon on Earth. "Close your eyes," Reinhardt said gently. "This crossing will not erase, it will just return." We complied. When lids lifted, we were parked on a ferry deck under drizzle, English Channel gray around us. White cliffs waited ahead. Phones buzzed with mundane notifications. Parents asking about homework, memes from friends. Passport stamps read Dover, July 22, stamp of entry at 5:14. No musical watermark remained, just faint impressions like bruises healed. But in my heart, the B Micmac motif had found resolution. B Micmac major to G minor back home. Yet tinged with chords too wide for pianos, felt both smaller and vaster, stitched by what we'd played. As the ferry horn sounded, I looked at my friends. Some eyes betrayed secret knowledge, some seemed peacefully oblivious, vials stowed for later. The world, ignorant of its own healing, waited on the other shore. We hefted our instruments, ready to disembark and, tonight in London, perform Mozart like any proper youth orchestra. But beneath every familiar score, other music thrummed, hidden yet alive, waiting for the next breach to mend. We stepped onto land, passports in hand, hearts caught between two tempos, one we could count, one we could only feel. The tour would finish, buses would park, summer would end, and someday when borders bled again, I knew we would gather, remember the impossible road, and play the earth whole once more.